In this video, I will show you how to use AverageOverScan program. The use of this program is optional. Most of the time it does not need it because the multiscan does 10 scans and most of the scans are decent. However, on rare occasions, usually when there are less multiscans, or when there is something very wrong in one particular scan, that one particular scan can skew the averages and you have to average data by yourself and remove that bad scan from the average. Then quick note that here there is more than 10 scans, file names, and then temperatures, and rotations. This part will not be discussed in detail. It's created as a one-time fix for the bug in the program to fix the average drought for the temperature and power dependent measurement. So I will not go into deep detail how it works, but what it basically does then for raw scan, raw data road files for all temperatures, for all rotations, you can resave, you can cure all files. So when the measurement program had bug and the average raw files were bad, the data files were bad, but raw data is still saved and it's good. So the algorithm was updated, so right now there is no bug, and I hope that it will not be needed, but that this part was one time used, and I hope that it won't be necessary. Additionally, that the same procedure that is here is in the measurement program, so anyway, if anything similar happens, then the code should be changed. So it's this part, it's here, it does not delete. We did not delete it from the program, but it has no use now. The main procedure starts from choosing the file. Unlike most of the programs that we use, here you should use either raw data road or the scan data. Because here you will need the data of every single scan. So let's say I will choose scan number 15, it's power dependent measurement, and I will use data. Then second thing that you need to know is how many data columns you have. For example, in this case, is it 2 channels or 3 channels? And if it's 2 and if it's 3, you have to check mark box. So if it's 2, then only first one. The second check mark will rewrite. So let's check our file. And for the power dependent, and we go to data 15, for example, or any other file. So as you can see, we have 2 channels. So in this case, I will open as a two channels. Here we should not change anything. Here just click load. And as you can see, I can change between first and second channel to see different channels separately. And you can see that here I have all of the separate scans, and here I have average over scans, and clearly the averaging helps significantly with the noise. The data is much noisy, but after averaging, the data is much cleaner. Another thing that sometimes, for example, here, if I don't like something in the data, like this minima, or I don't like this little peak, I can uncheck it and see how it affects the data. On this example, you see that the effect is very minor due to 10 scans being already a pretty large number of scans. Usually the biggest effect this program has the less scans, but it's not recommended to measure anything less than 4 scans. Realistically, sometimes it's better to measure even more than 10 scans if we need to increase signal to noise ratio. However, the improvement is depends goes as a square root. So let's say from 1 file to 10 files, the improvement is roughly 3 times. If from 1 file to 10 files, the same 3 times improvement roughly from 10 times to 100 files. But the issue is that from 10 file to 100 files, so from 1 file to 10 files, the time consumption is increases tenfold, or from 1 file to 100 file, the time consumption for one scan is 100-fold increase, but improvement only square root of this, only 10-fold increase. So it can be and it is used for improvement of the signal to noise, but it should not be the only source. So let's say I will remove some of the scans. For example, I don't like this thing, I don't like something here, and then I will leave everything else, only these two out. The average button is supposed to work automatically when you make any changes, but it's better to click average after you did the averaging, and then you click save file. The save file will be saved automatically with adding this 0 resaved by program and 0. Let's look how it got resaved. So as you can see, it adds 0 in the end and slash average by program. So this is what it 0 averaged by program. Then what I can do is I can do auto inc. So each time I click save file, it will increase. But what is the reason behind this increase? So you see 0, and then the reason is if I need to save more files, for example, I already did this, I will open another file, load, so you see this counter saves. Lastly, there is a function that cut off at. The thing is, sometimes for some files, you can see that here I have some zeros in. I don't know from which they come, but from one of the files, I see this effect. This is non-physical. These steps is due to the fact that some of the files end before other files, and the program sets for that file 0, and it average not all 10 files, but let's say 9, 8, 6, 7, and less and less and less. So here I need to cut off at, let's say, 20,100 to remove all of that bad points, and then if I click average, so the rest is removed. And the same, if I choose I don't want this, I don't want this, I want this, I want that, I click save, and after I save, automatically it will be from 2 to 3. So you see it's automatically 3. And another thing that it's important to know that here my old counter stays. So generally you don't want to increase, use auto increase, you want to resave everything with 0. And in this way, when you then use the text shuffle on nematicity, you use the old counter. For example, here it was 15, here it will be 30. And that's it. After you average by program, then you use this average by program. If you need average not all files, but only 2 or 3, then you need to rename the file with average load, so all files have the same structure.